welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to get on here and talk about how to find a good therapist. So if you've been watching my channel, you probably already know that I started working at a company called DenCare about almost a year ago now, actually. And what I do is I help people get connected with high quality mental health care providers. And over the past year, I've learned so much about how to go about finding the right provider for you. So I wanted to share some of those tips with you because I know how hard it can be to find a really good provider who feels like a good fit. First and foremost, if you're watching this video and you're about to start your journey to find a good provider, or if you're watching and you're already on your journey or you're thinking of switching, any of these things, I just want to commend you because I know how tough of a process it can be, especially with health insurance, especially in America with health insurance. It can be really difficult. So no matter where you are in your journey, I commend you and I hope some of these tips can be of help. All right, so step number one, that is determining your needs. So you'll need to start by figuring out what's most important to you. What is it that you're looking to get out of therapy? Why are you looking to talk to somebody? What prompted you? All those sorts of things. A great way to do this is just by sitting down and creating a list for yourself. And in this list, I would just kind of maybe brain dump like what it is that's important to you, what it is that you're looking to speak with somebody about. If you have no idea where to start and you're just not sure what you want or need out of this, and maybe if you're just unfamiliar with mental health or therapy in general, I think a good starting point would be to do some preliminary research on different treatment types and different mental health terms. And in doing this research, you'll probably start to see some things that come up for you and some things that actually resonate with you. And from there, you can kind of create a starting point of what it is you might want or need from therapy. And if it changes over time, that's okay too. It's just important to have some sense of what it is that you need or want out of your experience. The second step would be to consider finances. So we all know it can be really expensive to see a provider, unfortunately, and it can be discouraging if you're not really in a position financially and you find somebody and you're like, oh my goodness, this person doesn't take my insurance, or they're way more out of my price range than I thought. And so it's best to go in with a clear idea of how much you're willing to pay or what your insurance might cover. So in New York, an average session is about $175, which can be, pretty pricey for most people, especially if you're paying out of pocket. And for those who really want to seek therapy but might not be in a position financially to make it work, there are other options such as sliding scale, which allows for providers to offer sessions at a more affordable rate on a scale. And many providers who offer a sliding scale are really willing to work with clients because they want to make sure that therapy is affordable for them. Some insurance companies actually offer out-of-network coverage as well, and there are also different billing options to be reimbursed for certain insurance companies. And there are also other options such as group therapy, which usually is at a lower cost as well. And sometimes group therapy sessions are also covered by insurance. So before starting your search, it's important to either set out a specific budget that you're willing to spend or contact your insurance and make sure that you have whatever necessary benefits so you already have an idea of what's feasible for you and how you're going to make that work. And I know the financial part can be tough to understand, so I would recommend, just as I did in the first section, to maybe do a little bit of research on exactly what the different terms mean, the different types of billing, the different types of coverage, everything like that, so you're very clear before making a decision on who you're going to see, and you don't have to be disappointed when you figure out that, hey, maybe they don't take your insurance, or maybe you're not going to be able to afford it. So my third tip is to identify what it is that you're looking for in a provider. So if you're not familiar with the idea of therapeutic alliance, this is essentially the idea that a personality fit between the patient or the client and the provider actually has an effect on the outcome of the therapy. And this is something that has been studied for a while now. And it has been shown that when you have a good relationship with your provider, you actually might have a better experience in therapy. When you're seeing a provider, you definitely want to have some sense of trust. You want to feel comfortable and confident with them. You want to feel safe and at ease. So before looking for a provider, it's important to get granular with what it is that you really want out of a provider. So for some people, that might be provider identity. For me, I definitely had been looking for a Black female provider in my later years once I realized that I could search for that and that was an option because I wanted wanted somebody who kind of had a similar background as me, and I wanted somebody who I didn't really have to explain my experiences as a Black woman in America to, somebody who could relate to that, even if they didn't have the exact same experiences, but just generally being of the same or similar identity could really help. And I found that, and actually it's been really great for me. So provider identity is one common one that people really look for, and cultural competency is another one, which kind of also ties in. It could be the type of provider, so there's all different sorts of degrees within the mental health care field, of course, and some providers specialize in certain areas, and some providers have more general expertise, so that could be more important to you as well. You might want somebody who speaks the same language as you, or somebody who comes from the same religion as you. Regardless of what those factors may be, just figure out what it is in a provider that's most important to you. And when you start your search, you'll have these things in mind. And this will help you narrow down your search and hopefully increase the likelihood of you finding somebody who's a good fit, because you've already gotten clear on what it is you need in a provider prior to reaching out. So once you've determined your needs, gotten clear about how you're going to finance your sessions, and figured out which criteria are most important to you in a provider, then you're really in a good place to go ahead and start your search. So of course I'm a teeny bit biased, but I would definitely recommend checking out Zencare if you are starting your search. What I like about Zencare that I haven't really seen in many other searches is how specific you can get with the criteria that are important to you in your search in the drop down. So there's a menu at the top, and you can go ahead and select like, okay, provider identity, language, location, in person, all those sorts of factors, which is really great. We also have the option to get matched with a provider as well. That's actually part of what I do at Zencare, is I do help people get matched. How that works is you go ahead and you fill out a form with all the information that's important to you, and then you will get sent providers who we think would be the best fit for you. And then on top of it, our providers have the option of including a video on their profile, as well as like photos and videos of not only the provider, but their office as well. So it's really cool because it feels like you can kind of get a sense of the provider a little closer than if you're just kind of seeing their basic information online. And not to be totally lame, but another thing I really like about Zencare profile specifically is that it gives the provider an option to include a schedule on their profile where therapy seekers can directly book a free 10-minute phone consultation with them. And I can definitely leave more links and information in the description box, but the phone consultation is really the chance between the provider and the client to get to know each other and determine if it's really going to be a good fit or not. And this would also be an opportunity for the client to ask the provider any like specific questions that they weren't able to get answered off their profile, or any like maybe health insurance questions or anything like that. And the last two tips or steps could kind of be combined into one, and that would be to shop around and also don't settle. And so when I say shop around, I just mean be open to looking at a bunch of different profiles from different providers, looking at their videos and photos, booking initial phone consultations, and it's okay to reach out to a bunch of different people. I think I didn't really realize that when I was first on my search years ago, and now I'm like, oh wow, it's amazing. I could have just like sent my message about what I'm looking for to a bunch of different providers, gotten on a bunch of different phone calls, and then decided from there, whereas I kind of just went with one person and saw how that went, which is an option as well too. But now that we have so many more resources, it's really great because you can really put feelers out there and figure out who would be the best fit for you. Reach out to every provider that you think would be a good fit. That actually gives you a larger pool to choose from, and then you can narrow it down from there and move forward with phone consultations or initial appointments or whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. So yeah, feel good about shopping around, and also, like I said, do not settle. So I would say it's okay to assess fit with your provider, and if it's not feeling right to you after the phone consultation or even after appointments, that's okay. You don't have to move forward with that person. And honestly, something that I didn't really know was that it's okay to break up with your therapist. Like, I'll be honest, it's embarrassing to say, but I will say that I've ghosted a therapist before accidentally, just because I kept putting off, like, I didn't really know how to end it, and then I just ended up never replying. But it's way better to just be clear, hey, this isn't gonna work out for me, thanks for your time, X, Y, and Z. That's totally okay. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes you think it's gonna be a good fit, and it actually isn't, and that's okay too. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have a really good relationship with your therapist, it's likely that you're gonna have a better outcome of therapy. So it's really beneficial to you if you stick with a provider that you actually feel is a good fit for you. It's important to note that after around 3 to 4 sessions, you'll probably have a better idea of whether or not it's going to work, whether or not it feels like a good fit. And that's always a good time to kind of assess or reassess and determine if you want to continue moving forward. And if you're not really sure how to assess or reassess whether or not it's a good fit, there are plenty of prompts out there that you can use to kind of ask yourself certain questions to get to the bottom of how the treatment is working for you. And I can actually include some of those links down below. At Zencare, we definitely have some resources on our blog, and there are tons of other resources out there as well. So I'll include that information in the description box, of course. So those are all the tips I have for you today, and if you have any questions at all, please leave them down in the comment boxes down below, or of course, feel free to DM me on Instagram, what have you. And if you're interested in these types of videos about therapy or mental health in general, definitely let me know, because I would love to continue sharing resources and information on this, of what I've learned over the years and at my time at Zencare. And yes, I really hope that these tips were helpful, and I hope this gets some people excited about their journey and maybe gives them some direction. I know for me personally, therapy has really been such a blessing for me. It's really helped me a lot in my life, and I just want the same for other people, I guess. So thank you so much for watching, and best of luck to anyone on their therapy journey.